Today we're taking a look at our Nikon G to Canon EOS M RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapter. This is an adapter that's designed to adapt a full-frame Nikon f-mount lens to an APS-C crop Canon EOS M mirrorless camera, and the adapter actually offsets the lens on the Canon EOS M camera. You lock the adapter down to a tripod, then you rotate the Canon EOS M camera around the center or vertex of the adapted Nikon G lens. You take 4 photos, and then you stitch these 4 photos together in post for a square 6x6 style full frame plus image. Now, this adapter is not designed to replace other methods of stitching photography. There are plenty of other ways to do stitching photography that people love, and we have no intention of making this adapter to replace those. This is simply an adapter for people who want to adapt a full frame lens like this Nikon lens to their APS-C crop camera and then capture more of the image circle of this lens so they can create a square medium format style image. Obviously, this is a full frame lens. This is a crop sensor camera, so we're not actually capturing a medium format image. But if we set this lens wide open, this is a 20mm lens, and then we capture a square image through it, we will create a square image that has kind of a 6x6 medium format feel to it. Now, this is the small, almost baby version of the RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapter system. We also make RhinoCam Vertex adapters to adapt medium format film camera lenses to full frame digital cameras. We have a whole series of those adapters, and to learn more about those, click the link in the description. We also carry a couple different options for the Canon EOS M RhinoCam Vertex adapters, and here are all of them. Here's how to mount a Nikon f-mount lens on this adapter. We're just going to find the mounting dot on the adapter right here. We're going to line it up with the mounting dot on this lens, press the lens into the adapter, and rotate it to lock it into place. And then to remove this Nikon f-mount lens from the RhinoCam adapter, we're just going to find this little silver lever, press that down, and then we can rotate the lens to remove it from the adapter. Then to mount the RhinoCam Vertex adapter to our Canon EOS M, same thing. Line up the red mounting dot on the adapter with the white mounting dot on the EOS M. Press it in, rotate it to lock it into place. There we go. Now we've got this vintage Nikon F 20mm lens adapted to our Canon EOS M camera, and the adapter offsets the sensor of this camera. So if we lock it down on a tripod with the tripod foot on this adapter, we can rotate the EOS M camera, and it's offsetting the sensor. It's locking to 4 specific points to take 4 images that will then stitch together in post for a final square stitched shot. Now, the key to make a stitching photo like this work with this adapter is you have to lock the adapter down on a tripod, and you have to keep the lens completely stable. The lens can't move at all. So to do that, we've got a tripod foot on the bottom of this adapter. As you can see, it's an Arca Swiss style tripod foot, which means we can slide it into any sort of Arca Swiss style tripod. But if you don't have an Arca Swiss style tripod, it also has a 1/4-20 mounting hole, so you can put it on a standard tripod as well. You're just going to have to make sure that the tripod doesn't go any farther than here, because you're going to have to rotate the EOS M camera. So the tripod that you're attached to cannot bump into this camera, which is why it's best to use with an Arca Swiss slide-in style tripod, so you can rotate the camera 360 degrees and you don't have any interference. It's actually easier to show this setup without the Nikon lens attached, so you can see how the sensor of the EOS M camera is offset for each of the 4 shots. So let's pretend we have our shot all set up, we've got our lens all set, and we're ready to take some photos. Initially, we would take our first shot here, 1. We'd rotate. You can see how the sensor of the Canon EOS M camera is now in a different spot of the image circle of the lens. We take our second shot, rotate to our third position. Again, the sensor's in a different location. Take our third shot, rotate once more, take our 4th shot. And so now we've captured 4 different areas of the image circle of this lens, and they do overlap. And the reason they need to overlap is so when we take the 4 images into post, I'm going to use Photoshop. I'm going to use the photo merge function. I'm going to tell Photoshop to merge the 4 images together, and I'm going to end up with a square image. And this image is actually a little bit taller than a full frame image. So it's almost like having a full frame camera that has a square sensor rather than a rectangular sensor. So here's how to take a stitched photo with the RhinoCam Vertex adapter. The first thing you're going to want to do is set up your shot. And the way to know what your final image is going to look like is you're going to actually have to rotate to the 4 points that you're going to take 4 photos to kind of see the edges of your frame. So then you're going to adjust slightly, double check. Once you have an image that you like, you are ready to shoot. Make sure your tripod is locked down. Now, there are a couple settings you're going to want to make sure you have on your camera before you take your image. Obviously, first you're going to manually focus. This is a non-electronic adapter, so you will have to manually focus. You will not have any autofocus. Second, you're going to want to pick an aperture. And if your Nikon lens does not have an manual aperture control wheel like this vintage one does, there's actually a little built-in aperture control wheel in the RhinoCam adapter that will allow you to adjust the aperture. All right, so we have the aperture chosen, the focus chosen, and we've composed our shot. A couple settings we want to have in the camera. First, we want to shoot fully manual, and we want to pick a shutter speed. We want the same shutter speed for all 4 images, because if we had a different shutter speed for each one, that could create weird stitching issues. So you want to make sure you have one shutter speed chosen. Also, pick an ISO. Do not leave it set in auto ISO. You want the exposure to be the same across all 4 shots. And make sure your color balance is picked. Make sure you pick a color balance. Don't leave it set to auto, because the auto color balance might change between the 4 shots. So basically, pick a focus, pick an aperture, pick a shutter speed, pick an ISO, and pick a color balance. And once all that is ready, you are ready to go. All right, to take your first shot, you're just going to snap the shot, rotate to the second position. The adapter has a stop at the second position. Take your second shot, rotate to the third position, take your third shot, rotate to the fourth position, take your fourth shot. There you go. You've got your 4 images. Now you're going to take these into an image stitching software of your choice. I'm going to use Photoshop, the photo merge function, import those 4 images, have the software stitch them, and you have your final square image. Couple quick notes with using this adapter for 4 image stitches. Make sure that there aren't a lot of crowds or moving vehicles in your shot, because as you're rotating to the 4 positions, some of those things might move and the final stitch might have some weird singularities with it. For instance, this shot, I did a RhinoCam capture of some traffic. You can see this car is going behind a light post and it's disappearing because between the 2 stitched shots, the car kept driving and it drove out of frame. So make sure if you are capturing motion, moving subjects, either shoot at a really slow shutter speed so it's all blurred together, or just make sure that there isn't too much movement in your shot. That also goes for wind blowing trees. That can mess up your stitch. Although we found with waves in water, generally Photoshop and other stitching software is able to stitch waves pretty well so you don't really see the motion. Obviously, if you're really close up on the waves, they're really big, that could be a problem with a 4 image stitch as well. So you might want to use a long exposure to blur those waves so the stitch works better. Okay, that was a quick look at our Nikon G to Canon EOS M RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapter. Now we offer other types of mounts for EF-M cameras in the RhinoCam Vertex line. And we also offer a whole series of RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapters for various camera mounts and lens mounts. To learn more about all of those, click the links in the description below. And if you want to pick up this specific adapter, we have the link in the description as well. Now, if you have any questions about this adapter, comment below. I'd love to help you out. Plus, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one.